at the turn of the 20th century, Philadelphia was center of American manufacturing and industry. Over the course of the 20th century, basically all of that industry disappeared, resulting in over 700 abandoned factories in the city today. With the factories went the jobs, with the jobs went the people. Philadelphia's population declined from a peak of about 2.5 million to about 1.5 million today. That's a third of the population of the city left over the course of the 20th century. In the 1980s and 90s, a lot of abandoned housing stock was demolished, resulting in 40,000 vacant lots, 40,000 in the city today. Many neighborhoods where there's more vacant land than houses remaining. So this process of deindustrialization also resulted in poverty. Philadelphia is now the poorest of the 10 largest cities in the United States, with fully 25% of its population below the poverty line. It is also the most obese city in the United States, with corresponding high rates of diet-related disease and death. But this isn't a story unique to Philly. This is common to many cities of what we now call the Rust Belt, the former industrial cities of the North, from Detroit to Akron to Baltimore, all face similar challenges. The Philadelphia Orchard Project was founded with a fairly simple idea to use neglected and underutilized land in the city to grow food for the people. In addition to the 40,000 vacant lots, Philadelphia also has 10,000 acres of public parkland, presenting another immense opportunity. So why orchards specifically? Let's go back. Of course, fresh fruit is the most obvious reason. Over the past 7 years, we've planted 34 community orchards, primarily in low-income neighborhoods in the city, including over 600 fruit and nut trees, over 1,200 berry bushes and vines. And once these trees are mature, each fruit tree can produce over 100 pounds of fruit a year for decades to come. In the long run, we believe these orchard spaces can make a real contribution to the diet and health of city residents. And our partners report to us the transformative experience of their neighbors tasting fresh figs, Asian pears, and other fruits for the first time, and reported to us last year in our orchard survey that over 3,000 people tasted something grown in our young orchards last year. Before these orchards mature, they are powerful tools for building community. And last year, over 5,000 people used our orchard spaces as gathering spaces in their neighborhoods. Each of our orchards is planted in partnership with a community group, from schools to churches to community gardens, and a wide range of other nonprofits. And once we accept a partner as an orchard partner, we provide them an orchard design, plant materials, planting supervision, and long-term support in terms of training them in how to care for their orchards. Our community partners own, maintain, harvest, and distribute the produce within their neighborhoods, thus building community food security and food access. In addition to working with our partners to plant and grow and care for these orchards, we also help them engage their neighborhoods through seasonal harvest festivals in spring and fall and summer, to bring in neighbors to experience these spaces and taste the fruit for themselves. Last fall, we had our 3rd annual Philadelphia Orchard Day with over 1,200 people participating at events at 12 different sites in the city, doing activities like cider pressing, cooking demonstrations, pumpkin painting, and other fun activities for families. Urban orchards also have powerful environmental benefits for their communities. I like to think of fruit trees as double carbon offsets, so not only do they absorb carbon and other pollutants from the air like other trees do, but they also reduce food miles, the average distance that food travels from where it's grown to where it's consumed, with corresponding benefits in reducing fossil fuel use for transportation, refrigeration, etc. In addition to carbon, orchards also reduce stormwater runoff, provide shading for neighborhood cooling in the summer, and build neighborhood ecologies. Each of our orchards is planted in a permaculture food forest style, so they include a diverse array of understory plantings that help attract beneficial insects, build good soil, and provide opportunities to teach ecology. Urban orchards provide a direct experience of nature that many urban residents otherwise lack. Although we're not planting commercial orchards, they do contribute to neighborhood and household economies. Many of our urban farm partners, like Teens for Good here, sell some of the orchard produce on-site farm stands, CSAs, and other means as part of agricultural entrepreneurship programs that teach youth not only how to grow, but also how to sell produce in their neighborhoods. As for the wider economic impact of urban agriculture, the University of Pennsylvania did a fairly comprehensive study in 2008 where they looked at production in community gardens in the city. They tracked production at over 200 community gardens occupying 33 acres in the city. In the summer months alone in 2008, those gardens produced 2.2 million pounds of fresh local produce with a cash value of $4.5 million. Almost all of that produce was distributed directly to family and friends in low-income neighborhoods. This is real value, real impact, and real production. We look forward to examining the impact of urban orchards in the future. We believe the most important thing that POP does is connect urban residents to how their food is grown and the origins of their food, especially children. So many urban residents don't think beyond the supermarket, the corner store, or the fast food chain as the origins of their food. We provide them a direct experience of peaches growing on trees, grapes growing on vines, blueberries growing on bushes, and this is a powerful experience. We teach our partners how to grow these things, and they inspire their neighbors to eat them, incorporate them into diets, and even to grow some of them themselves. In this last year, we've started working on an orchard-based school curriculum to expand these educational opportunities and use with our school partners and other orchards around the city. And last year, in our orchard survey, our partners said that educational opportunities were the highest value of their orchard spaces and reported that over 6,000 people participated in educational programs at POP orchard sites. The last reason I want to bring up is that orchards have a greater sense of permanence than do vegetable gardens. Fruit trees can live for decades, sometimes even centuries. Cities have traditionally regarded urban agriculture as a temporary land use until they can build something else, develop the land for another use. We'd like to argue, given the multiple benefits in terms of food access, community building, education, ecology, and economy, that urban orchards should be accepted and promoted as a permanent part of city infrastructure. So now that I've made my argument, I want to try to inspire you with some of the work we've already done. So our mission is pretty simple: to plant and support community orchards in the city. And that's what we've done in the last 7 years. As I mentioned, we have 34 community orchard partners in neighborhoods across the city, primarily low-income neighborhoods. You can also see another 10 yellow markers on the map. These are city orchards not originally planted by us that we're providing support for. This is actually our very first orchard planting back in 2007. It's in South Philly with the Youth Leadership Council. This is an after-school program for teens based out of the neighboring United Community Center. And this orchard is still growing strong today. They participated last year in our Philadelphia Orchard Day with pumpkin painting, face painting, and other apple tasting and other activities in their orchard. Richard Allen is one of a half dozen city schools, both public and charter schools, that we've helped to plant orchards at. And I would say schools are always are often the most challenging partners, but always the most rewarding. Kids will try anything that they've had a hand in growing, even as unfamiliar fruits as blackcurrants, persimmons, and pawpaws. Kids will line up to try them and delight in them. And all over the city, we've converted kids from fig Newtons to fresh figs. We hope to expand this. Every school in the city at some point should have an orchard, and we're beginning work on that. Another one of our school partners, Greenfield Elementary. We've planted with 3 churches in the city, including Temple Presbyterian Church in North Philly. We're soon to add a 4th church partner this spring. So churches are large landowners in the city, but they're often also the strongest cultural institutions in their neighborhoods. And in this photo, the pastor was so overcome to see the first cherries on her tree that she shed tears of joy. And we hope to provide a similar experience for her congregation as the orchard grows. The Ogden Orchard in West Philly's Belmont neighborhood is at the site of a newly built home for adults with autism. And we actually convinced HUD to spend its landscape budget on a completely edible landscape, rather than just on grass, trees, and shrubs. And today, the orchard is maintained by neighborhood nonprofit Preston's Paradise, as well as residents of the facility, and the whole neighborhood stops by to pick from this edible landscape. Woodford Orchard in East Fairmount Park is one of our flagship orchard sites, planted at historic Woodford Mansion. And this is maintained by the East Park Revitalization Alliance, which is a neighborhood nonprofit that brings over groups of students after school to pick the fruit and care for the orchard. And each of the last 5 years, Woodford has been the host for a strawberry festival in the spring and an apple festival in the fall, where the whole community from the neighboring Strawberry Mansion neighborhood of North Philly comes out, experiences the space, tastes the fresh fruit, and participates in fun activities, again, like cider pressing, art activities, and other things that engage them. The Share food program is another one of our flagship orchards, also in North Philly. Share is the largest distributor of emergency food services in the region. And a few years ago, we helped them plant an orchard in a formerly vacant gravel lot next to their warehouse, immediately adjacent to the now shuttered Tasty Cake factory. And this orchard is now part of an innovative urban farm program where Share is introducing emergency food recipients that come there not only to fresh fruits and vegetables, but also how to grow them, to bring that knowledge back to their own neighborhoods and maybe need less assistance in the future. In recent years, we've begun to partner with some more high-profile sites in the city, like Bartram's Garden in West Philly, Aubrey Arboretum in North Philly, and we found an active and willing partner in the city itself. We've partnered on over 10 sites with Parks and Recreation to this point, including the Fairmount Park Horticulture Center. We've also partnered with the Water Department and SEPTA on different projects, and this year we'll be planting the city's largest orchard at the Philadelphia Prison Systems Complex in Northeast Philadelphia. So what I want to leave you with is the inspiration to get involved. POP is part of a national and international urban orchards movement. And if you live in our area, we welcome you to get involved. Come out and help us plant an orchard this spring. If you live elsewhere, please find an urban orchard project popping up near you. Thank you.